It's Friday, April 1, 2022. In the headlines, teachers still awaiting back pay. New airlift coming to Jamaica. The debate continues on the Firearms Act. Regionally, protesters hit the streets in Haiti. And in sports, CPL Carnival for Guyana. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Simone Absalom Gale. Some public sector teachers will not receive their retroactive salaries until April. Education Minister Favour Williams on Thursday confirmed that issues that led to the non-receipt of outstanding pay have not yet been resolved. According to the minister, back pay for about 700 teachers has not been made. The Jamaica Teachers Association had given the Education Ministry until the end of March to pay the outstanding amounts, noting that normality could not be guaranteed otherwise. Come November 2022, American Airlines is set to launch 2 weekly non-stop flights between Miami International Airport and the Ian Fleming International Airport outside of Ocho Rios. The announcement comes following a recent meeting between senior executives of American Airlines and several government and private sector officials in Montego Bay. The flights will be operated by an Envoy E-175 aircraft, which can seat between 76 to 88 passengers in business and economy class, and will operate on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett, in a statement supporting the move, says, quote, "This is a very valuable addition to the aviation needs of Jamaica, with non-stop service between the United States and our country's 3rd international airport. It is a great start and will encourage other airlines to fly into the Barbados area. It will also be and assist greatly in boosting tourism development potential and Portland and connecting many members of our diaspora closer to home." End quote. Jamaica's border protection capabilities are set to get a shot in the arm. The boost comes from the British government through a $22 million grant to acquire a replacement intelligence management system for the Jamaica Customs Agency. Here's more in this report. The new system should boost JCA's intelligence and risk-based targeting framework, which is vital to tackling cross-border related crimes. The JCA also accepted radiation kits, among other provisions, which will aid in safeguarding officers against high-harm goods and other substances that they may encounter during their work. The grant is being facilitated through the British Home Office via the United Kingdom Border Force International under a Memorandum of Understanding. In her remarks, Mrs. Ricketts Walker welcomed the provisions.
So the agency also wants to extend to our gratitude, right, to UK Border Force for the radiation kits that we know you intend to hand over to us today and throughout the rest of the week. And we're looking forward to them. And they will also go a far way in bolstering our border protection capabilities. The Jamaica Customs Agency also looks forward to the continued collaboration with UK Border Force International, as coordinated border management can only serve to provide greater results.
She explains how the new intelligence system will be used.
The idea here, High Commissioner, is that it allows us to pull on the treasure trove of data we have stored in our customs database system, commonly referred to as ASICUDA, combined with other data sources and to provide a more complete picture as it relates to suspected bad actors, their associates, and their associations. So big data becomes the tool that we extend and will intend to exploit.
The MOU was signed by the British High Commissioner to Jamaica, Her Excellency Judith Slater, and JCA Chief Executive Officer and Commissioner of Customs Velma Ricketts Walker at the Customs Agency's head office in Kingston. She pointed out that as trade becomes more digitalized, the use of cross-border data is becoming increasingly important as part of the facilitation process and for enhancing capabilities.
Greater intelligence sharing, cohesive response to threats, and strict enforcement of laws and cooperation of international partners are key to finally overtaking and defeating transnational crime.
High Commissioner to Jamaica, Her Excellency Judith Slater, expressed the importance of working together to fight international crime and explained what some of the equipment will do.
And so we remain utterly committed to working with Jamaica to combat the threat from smuggling of high harm goods and substances. I'm really delighted that we've managed to get together and get this signing done and to be delivering these items. The Agilent through barrier system will allow officers to test items within situ, but minimising contact, whilst the personal radiation devices will alert officers to potential high levels of radiation. As you rightly said, also, international crime doesn't recognise national borders.
The Justice Ministry says the Firearms Act Jamaica 1967 and amendments was established to regulate and control the circulation and use of firearms and ammunition, and for purposes incidental to or connected with any of the foregoing purposes. The new act, dubbed the Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act 2022, was tabled in the House of Representatives on February 10, introducing harsher penalties for offenses connected to the illicit trade, manufacture, stockpiling, possession, and use of illegal guns. A parliamentary committee has been reviewing the new bill. Carla Thomas Hewitt has the latest report.
Members of the Joint Select Committee of Parliament reviewing the new Firearms Act heard submissions from the Jamaica Customs Agency Border Patrol executives. This submission, among other things, calls for additional powers to obtain more tangible results when pursuing illegal arms dealers.
In those circumstances, wouldn't customs have notified, let's say, for example, your collaborative agency, for example, MOCA, CTOC, those agencies, because you do collaborate?
Absolutely. So there are instances where the JCA is in hot pursuit, meaning we would have probably been on an operation already, and that operation leads to subsequent intelligence that is time sensitive. In many instances, our operations with the JCF and our other partners are planned. So there are going to be circumstances where we don't have the luxury of time to sit down and plan an operation to follow up what we initially set out for. So under those circumstances, we wish to independently pursue that type of contraband. In this instance,
for specifically to firearm offenses.
Jamaica Rifle Association also aired questions surrounding Section 2 of the new Act relative to firearm users' permits.
It's just that the definition of a firearm itself excludes. So we're just asking that we be mindful in making a decision if we are going to exclude air rifles from the definition of firearm, that we make the adjustment here.
The current definition includes air rifle, and you get a permit from FLA. The current status.
Current as it is now.
I think that has to remain as it is, because it's not a challenge. It's almost a routine activity.
Right.
They also raised concerns with the subsection related to firearm users and restricted licenses. The concern is relative to the association's aim of developing a youth shooting program as a sport, as well as developing target shooting skills among the Jamaica Combined Cadet Force Battalion line.
And it means a license authorizing the holder thereof to A, possess, and B, use only within an approved control area specified in the license, which may include a firearm shooting range or gun club. Any firearm or ammunition specified in the license. So we just had a couple of questions there. So that we understand in a policy perspective, because of the concerns that we have, if there's a lower age limit, so we have a sense as to what this license in particular applies to, and a sense as to what is the outer limit in terms of a time period that a person could obtain a license like this for.
Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, who chairs the Joint Select Committee, says the new bill will introduce a more robust framework and comprises two regimes, one to treat with prohibited weapons and the other dealing with firearms duly registered by the authority. For PBCJ News, I'm Carla Thomas Hewitt.
You should plant a tree this weekend and do your part in contributing to Jamaica's National Tree Planting Initiative, 3 million trees in 3 years. The Forestry Department is encouraging Jamaicans to download its new app, 876 Trees, which was created to monitor and track seedlings distributed and planted as part of the initiative. The application also seeks to assist and encourage tree care by providing guidelines for planting and maintaining the tree seedlings by species. STATIN is reporting a 6.7% growth in Jamaica's economy. We'll hear more about it and other financial updates in the Business Report with Danita Rodney and Gabriel Thompson.
On March 24, the Consulate General of Jamaica, New York, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange held the second staging of Investing in Jamaica. The virtual forum was formed on the basis of the need for increased dialogue on investment opportunities in Jamaica and the United States. The forum gave way for presentations on various marketing opportunities and shed light on new businesses such as Link. According to CEO Vernon James, Link is Jamaica's first digital financial service and is a way of facilitating a cashless Jamaica and transforming the financial landscape.
There is a transformation that is taking place in the financial landscape. Jamaica has about $10 trillion in transactions annually, or about 50 million transactions. Now, for our guests that are not in Jamaica, that's Jamaican dollars, not US dollars. Maybe one day we'll get to 10 trillion US, who knows, but it's 10 trillion Jamaican dollars. And what has happened since COVID is that we have accelerated the digitization of those transactions. So, for example, check transactions have declined approximately 45% in the last 2 years. Electronic transactions, you're talking now, your point of sale transactions and so on have gone up 25%. And when we launched Link, we went to the market and we asked them, if they wanted to do more of their transactions digitally. And the answer was a resounding yes. Jamaica is ready to adopt digital payments. And then just recently, you would have heard that the central bank digital currency, gloriously named Jamdex, was launched. And the minister did his first transaction live on TV in his budget debate a few weeks ago. So we are one of the first countries to have a digital currency being used, and we're proud of that. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of where we're going.
When describing the app, Mr. James stated that Link is the payment solution.
Link is your payment solution at this time. As simple as it gets, that's what we are now. We're easy to love. We're impossible to forget. But Link is an evolving solution. Link is the solution for the Jamaican people, the digital solution, where we will eventually become where you want to do your business from a digital standpoint. So we want to be, or we will be, the ecosystem you go to live. All the transactions you want to do, you will do in our Link app.
With a mission of digital financial empowerment, Link seeks to bridge the gap for those who are unable to access or use traditional financial services and to bring more people into the digital financial service market because the future of financial service is digital. STATIN has reported a 6.7% growth for the October to December quarter. Gabrielle Thompson has the details.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN, says the Jamaican economy continues to show signs of recovery from the impact of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. The institute is reporting growth of 6.7% during the fourth quarter of 2021 when compared to the same period in 2020. In a statement issued Thursday, the institute credited the growth to increases in both the services industries and the goods-producing industries of 9% and 0.5% respectively. STATIN says the economic expansion was positively impacted by the relaxation of some COVID-19 measures, including the easing of global travel restrictions and reduced curfew hours. It says the economy grew by 1.4% in the fourth quarter of 2021 when compared to the third quarter of the year. This was the sixth consecutive quarter of growth since a 15.6% decline in the second quarter of 2020. The Statistical Institute is also reporting growth in all the services industries except the producers of government services, which saw a 0.1% decline. Improved performances were recorded for hotels and restaurants, which saw a 79.5% increase, transport, storage and communication up 10.1%. Wholesale and retail trade, repairs, installation of machinery and equipment saw a 10.6% increase. Other services were up 10.4%. Finance and insurance services up 2.7%. Real estate, renting and business activities up 2.1%, and electricity and water supply saw a 5.8% increase. Manufacturing and mining and quarrying contracted by 2.2% and 60.5% respectively. STATIN attributed the decline to the major fire occurring at the Jamaica Aluminium Company Jamalco plant in Clarendon last August, which resulted in reduced activities at the facility in the fourth quarter of 2021. Meanwhile, preliminary estimates for the 2021 calendar year show that the economy grew by 4.6%. STATIN says this was due to improved performances of approximately 4.7% and 4.3% respectively in the services and goods-producing industries. For the Business Report inside the news on PBCJ, I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, March 31, the US dollar sold for an average of $153.78. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $123.75. The pound sterling traded for $202.68, and the euro sold for an average of $172.60. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Thursday's trading session. The JSE index advanced by 2,207 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index advanced by 34 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index advanced by 2,368 points to close at over 400,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 3,189 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 98 stocks, of which 51 advanced, 30 declined, and 17 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, Access Financial Services Limited, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, Roger Paints Jamaica Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Cargo Handlers Limited, and Community and Workers of Jamaica CCU Deferred Share. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with over 14 million units, followed by Radio Jamaica Limited with over 10 million units and Spiritory Spices Jamaica with over 5 million units. In regional stocks, on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, Clicker Investment Fund was the sole security with over 4,000 shares being traded. The Barbados Stock Exchange saw Goddard Enterprises Limited as the volume leader with 5,000 shares, followed by Epley Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund, which traded 2,250 shares. In market data for oil prices dipped on Friday ahead of a meeting of International Energy Agency member nations. They are set to discuss a release of emergency oil reserves alongside a huge planned release by the United States. Brent crude was down 6 cents or 0.1% to $104.65 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude was down 37 cents or 0.4% at $99.91 a barrel. And that was the extended business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, political instability and climbing crime rate have drawn protesters onto the streets across Haiti. Rising costs of everything from food to fuel are a major concern in the Caribbean nation, with millions struggling.
For the last 3 months, this type of civil unrest has become the norm as demonstrators protest ongoing kidnappings and violence, as well as mostly stagnant wages in the face of soaring inflation. Protesters in Port-au-Prince say life is becoming unattainable, and they're demanding that government officials do more to address the problems facing them on a daily basis.
Traders can't take to the streets, our children can't go to school because of the kidnapping and crime. Rising costs and inflation are only making things worse for us.
Everything from food to fuel is getting more expensive. Bakeries that make the bread most Asians rely on every day could soon be forced to shut down due to supply shortages and rising costs.
The war in Ukraine has hurt us a lot because imported flour plays such an important role. It has made it difficult to get wheat into Haiti. That's why it's so expensive for us, even if we can't afford it.
Haiti imports 70% of its food, and the UN estimates that nearly half of the population is in urgent need of assistance. Many of the medical workers who went on strike earlier this month over security concerns are refusing to return to work until their wages are increased.
Farmers around St. Kitts got the opportunity to learn about organic farming during the Gideon Forest Cooperative Society's organic training session on Thursday. In an interview with ZIZ News, the manager of Gideon Forest Organic Farm, Ras Tambura, explained what organic farming is.
It's a simple term of saying you're doing farming in a natural way. You're not using the synthetic chemicals, but using all alternatives, different alternatives in a natural way that won't harm not even the insects and any surroundings, so, and even the humans. We recognize the amount of diseases that we have, especially the cancerous diseases, and they come from more of these chemicals. So we're trying to show the way that farmers could produce food without using these chemicals.
He added that the cooperative has received reports that the chemicals used in farming are affecting farmers, so utilizing an organic alternative method is more beneficial.
We recognize the feedback from these chemicals. We recognize, especially when the elders say, these farmers in his community, they're suffering from prostate cancer, which is an element that comes from out of using Roundup and all them sort of stuff. So over time, our farmers, them are dying. So it ain't just about the normal consumer, but also the farmer himself and the environment in terms of the insect, even the bees. The bees are very important for pollination and for honey. So by using this method, you improve the entire ecosystem. And even the global warming actually will benefit if there's already a global warming.
Barbadians who were waiting with bated breath for the introduction of breathalyzer testing will have to hold on a bit longer. The delay comes due to the need to ensure that certain requisites are in place. More from CBC Barbados.
There are some other matters that we want to make sure are fully implemented before we move to that. And specifically, I'm speaking of the matter of metered taxi rates. We consider this to be an important prerequisite, simply because it will be an important asset to have available to people who might be out for entertainment at night and so on. We think that the two things must go hand in hand, and therefore, given that there's still significant amount of work to be done in the area of meter taxi rates, we've determined that we would not at this time allow the breathalyzer to be launched.
In sports, head coach Paul Hall has high praises for the resilience of Jamaica's Reggae Boys and their improved style of play after the Caribbean powerhouse ended the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers with their second win of the campaign. Down 0-1 to Honduras just after the quarter-hour mark at the National Stadium on Wednesday night, the hosts hit back through second-half goals from England-based professionals Leon Bailey and Ravel Morrison to take a 2-1 win. The head coach says, quote, "I'm happy with the way we're approaching games of football. They've managed to have a style and an identity about what we're doing. Going forward, we just have to try to improve things and try to improve this team. And like I said, this is about people who want to be here. This is about people who want to come and play for Jamaica." End quote. Hall was named interim head coach last December when Theodore Whitmore was axed with Jamaica struggling after a single win, 3 defeats, and 4 draws. His Excellency Dr. Ali on Wednesday says Guyana will be hosting the Hero Caribbean Premier League finals for the next 3 years. Dr. Ali made this announcement as he officially launched the Cricket Carnival and CPL 2022 at the Guyana National Stadium in Providence. He says, quote, "On September 30, for the first time in CPL history, the finals will be in Guyana. And not only will the finals be in Guyana, but for the next 3 years, the final will be in Guyana." End quote. The president says while the Cricket Carnival will be a product set apart from any other, its primary aim is bringing our region together. The inaugural Cricket Carnival will feature a regional food festival, a regional as well as international concert, and Guyana Night, among many other exciting events. In addition to the highlight anticipated cricket matches, spectators are also promised excitement in the stands come September. Before we go, let's check in with our entertainment guru, Alicia Steele, to see what's coming up in the entertainment recap. Hey, Alicia.
Wagwan, Simone. This week's show is full of action. You know, we have new music. We share some lighter moments of our public officials, and Beanie Man and Boom Boom add a few words. So join us this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on PBC Jamaica for Entertainment Recap.
And with that, we call an end to today's newscast. On behalf of our entire news and production team, thank you so much for watching.